Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Mary Grace, and we are watching live today. I have a very exciting guest who many of you have been anticipating. I've been teasing up to it, but I didn't actually spill the beans. And so today you are looking at none other than Kevin Sorbo, the actor, studio owner, producer, so many hats he's wearing, activist, um, canceled Hollywood personality, you name it. Welcome to the show, Kevin. It's wonderful to have you here.
Good to be here. You forgot to mention truth teller.
Truth
So,
teller, yes, we're going to get to that. We are going to get to that. Listen, everybody, as you're coming in, I'm so excited about this. I don't want to forget. Uh, Tag people, let everybody know that we're live. The major platforms obviously are not liking what we're doing today, and they have taken delight in canceling Kevin, me, other people that you know and love. And so do the best you can. And I do want to warn you that if you're on one of those main big tech platforms, you better have a link to the other platform handy just in case things go south during our show today, because we're going to be unfiltered and we're going to talk about some great things. So if you are here today, give us a thumbs up. Let us know where you are watching from. Hit the subscribe button, like, and all those things. So, Kevin Sorbo, you have an amazing career behind you, but also before you as an actor. You've acted in over 60 films. You have acted in acclaimed television series. You've worked with amazing A-list actors, producers, directors, writers, and yet you're one of the most canceled in the industry. So let's just jump right into that and talk about today's culture and the world of entertainment. It's just a wild, wild west scenario.
well,
How
most
is
of
it
it,
for you guys?
most of it kicked off for COVID. There's no question. COVID created such a chasm, such a divided country. Um, and all I was posting on Facebook for my millions of followers, I was posting what other doctors were saying. Like, God forbid we have a different point of view. Like even the climate believers, the world's coming to an end, which I call weather. So that should take me off some of your people platforms right away. Um, the
Yeah,
insanity of it is not to look at both sides. That's the weirdest thing. I love the fact when people say, "Well, look, you have to look, don't question the science." So that's what science is.
yeah,
Science is always questioning. And everything I said about Fauci, everything I said about Gates, everything I said about mask wearing and 6 feet, not only my personal opinion, but the opinions of thousands of other doctors around
yeah,
the globe, was labeled misinformation and conspiracy theories. And so Facebook completely took me down. And of course, everything I said became true. It is true.
yep,
And Fauci even came out recently, and when he was being, attacked by Congress, basically saying the 6 foot separation thing was BS. He just said,
yeah,
well, we had to come up with something. And mask wearing, of course, was completely useless.
yep,
And it didn't stop the spread. It did nothing like that. The shots they made people take, we're hearing just little bits and pieces. I'm hearing a lot more, trust me, because I've got doctors in the business at very high places that got to keep their mouths shut. But they tell me, they're going, you cannot believe the number of people coming in now because of what the side effects have done to these people's lives. If it hasn't killed them, it's
yeah,
caused all kinds of problems for them. So, Facebook and its minions and its trolls and the wussiness of Zuckerberg, you guys can suck it and admit to me that you took me down just because you hate my politics and hate the fact that I'm a Christian. It's just weird to me, the world we're living in right now. And
it
I'm not
is.
perfect by any means. But I look at the craziness of the left right now and the anger and hate that they have. They are the party of hate. They're the party of murder. We can get into abortion later, but let's face it, these people
Yeah,
are absolutely nuts. And these people are people who hate themselves. They hate what they see in the mirror, and they want to attack you and me and anybody else has a different point of view, because these people have no lives other than being paid by my tax dollars and your tax dollars and George Soros backing them. And that's not conspiracy theory. That just happens to be fact.
wow. I mean, I let's just, yeah, don't hold back.
Well,
Tell us how.
it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't
Yeah,
harbor that kind of anger towards someone who's a different point of view. I don't follow people that I don't like. What a waste
Right.
of time for these people waiting for me to post on Twitter just
Yeah.
so they can attack me. What a horrible existence and boring life these people must have. They contribute nothing to society whatsoever, and yet they wait for me to post something. And I get take joy of it. I don't have time to follow. I have 2 million followers on Twitter. I don't have time to see what people are saying. My sons let me know occasionally, and I just get a kick out of it. And I go, wow, these people have nothing better to do with their time than to wait to
Yeah.
attack people like me. And I think it's absolutely hilarious. And their lives are obviously completely useless. They do nothing to make their lives better, let alone anybody other's lives better.
Yeah, it is. It's astonishing. I mentioned to you that we had a big bot attack on Rumble, on a recent
Sure.
show that I did, and it's, you're doing something right when
Sure.
they actually spend ammunition to pay somebody to come into your channel and post, nasty, divisive, just horrific content over and over and over again. Like, who does that, right? It's the craziest thing. Speaking of Twitter, I sent you the link. If you wanna retweet it, we'll get a bunch more eyeballs on this interview, if that's okay with you,
I
if you
did. I
can.
retweeted it already. So
Oh,
hopefully,
awesome. Okay, thank you. That's perfect. So this is the whole cancel culture. You said that you have doctors who are contacting you, under the radar, kind of telling you what's going on with
sure.
the side effects. But I wanted to ask you too, because you said something on an interview a couple of years ago. You said, "I'm not here to wake up the sheep. I'm here to wake up the lions." And I loved that, and I actually used it for the title of our show today, and I think that it's to me that is so telling, because you just said that you have people coming to you in secret who are
Yeah.
telling you these things. So where are the courageous people? Where are the courageous people in medical, in Hollywood, in TV, in the entertainment industry? Are you interacting with them, and do you see a shift coming in those industries? Where
Oh,
are
sure I
they?
do. I mean, every movie I've been doing, you said over 60 movies. I've actually done well over 80 movies. Not all of them are
Oh, I'll
good.
have to
Not
correct
all
it.
are
Okay.
good. Not all are, but most of them are pretty good.
Okay.
I got two coming out in August and three documentaries coming up for the end of the year. And I've actually shot two more movies this year that are in post production, and I've lined up for three more. So I'm still staying busy, even though Hollywood canceled me. In the independent world, I'm doing just fine. I'm doing movies that have hope and love and laughter and redemption and faith, things that Hollywood used to do. But apparently that gets me attacked too, because I should have all the craziness of what Hollywood's putting out there, and their agenda and their message, instead of doing the things that most people are looking for. Even those negative people out there, they are looking for hope in their lives. They don't
Yeah.
may not want to admit to that, but they are looking for something to give them some sort of hope that there's something better than the world we're living in right now. But I get an actor, I get a director, I get a lighting guy, I get a makeup artist. Every movie I do, I get a handful of people coming up to me saying quietly, like we're doing a drug deal, saying, "Hey, thanks for being a voice for us." And I go, "Well, be a voice for yourself." "Well, I
Yeah.
don't want to get canceled like you." And I said, "You're in doing one of my movies right now. You're not canceled yet. I'm still making movies. I'm just not getting called to be in this
Yeah.
agenda-driven stuff that like Disney's doing. I could care less. I don't do movies that have very good scripts, have storylines that people can relate to the people on there." And as I always say, freedom over fear, baby. Because right now, government's favorite weapon is fear. I mean, look what
Yeah.
they did during COVID. And thank God, I think one of the blessings of COVID is that 2 million more families, and I'm saying 2 million more families, woke up and took their kids out of school, and they're now homeschooling them, because our public schools are crap. And I think anybody under the age of 30 right now, brought up in our public schools and our university system, look at the way they act, look at the way they react, look at the anger and hatred that they have, and the stuff that they want to come after you and me and other people like us. To me, it's like, we are fully a socialist country right now, working our way into Marxism, and there's nothing good about that. It's never ever worked. Socialism and communism killed over 100 million people in the last century. So I don't know, the brainwashing of our public schools. Take your kids out of schools. And you parents, shame on you for letting your daughters compete against sports against men that say they're women. That's just stupid to me. I saw an interview with a transgender, and he said, they go, "Why don't you just have sports against other transgenders?" And then he said, I should say she, I'll get in trouble apparently, said that, "No, then I'll lose my advantage." Hello. So they admit that they have
Yeah.
a male body, and they
Yeah.
camouflage now saying that they're women. They want to compete against women. But shame on parents for letting their daughters go against this. This is just stupid to me. And we're the feminists in all this. You know, I mean, we've created so many wussy men, and we've created so many people afraid to speak out and speak the truth. It just makes no sense to me whatsoever. And people need to just. So I say the sheep are going to be sheep, but the lions are out there. They just got to come out of that closet. It's funny now. It's the conservatives that are in the closet in Hollywood now, and it used to be the gays. We're the new gays, apparently. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of that. I came out, they canceled me, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Hollywood owes me nothing. I had two very big, large hits with Hercules and Andromeda, and I'm doing movies now that make a difference in a positive way. I get stopped all the time by people in airports and hotel lobbies saying, "Keep making the movies you're doing, because I know with your movie, I can take my kid to see it."
That's great. And you've also had people who have really had their lives completely transformed by the movies that you've done. You people
Yeah,
who have become Christians
yeah.
from watching what you've done. I mean, that's generationally impacting, right? And so I think I admire so much what you and your wife, Sam, are doing because you are living, breathing examples of what the Bible says. Be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. And that is what you're doing. You're not allowing any of the negative circumstances to stop you. In fact, you're doubling down and just prolifically producing all of this incredible body of work that has a kingdom focus and is focused on improving people's lives, creating jobs, employing people, and bringing change to the industry. I hear so much people say, boycott Hollywood, get out of, don't watch movies, don't go to the theater, et cetera, et cetera. And I understand in principle where they're coming from, but you and your wife actually have your own studio and you have a different perspective on it, which is to change the industry and to do what you're called to do, not to remove people from the movies, but to create movies that are bringing people back as families. Can you talk a little bit about that and a little bit about your vision for that? Because I think we need more of that in every industry.
Well, that pretty much happened when my manager and agents of many years said they couldn't work with me anymore because of the way I was posting things on the internet. I said, "What am I posting? Oh, you mean I'm posting the truth? And that's a negative thing?" And they said, "Well, the winds are changing in Hollywood, and they want to work less and less with people that are openly Christian or openly conservative." And I had to laugh at that. So we formed Sorbo Studios. Go to sorbostudios.com, all kinds of information on there. Sign up. We'll keep up to date when things come in the pipeline. But I just said I want to do movies that made me want to be an actor in the first place. Movies that the good guy does win,
Yeah.
and it's and that there is hope out there. And I've done movies like What If and God's Not Dead and Soul Surfer and Let There Be Light. Rise of the Antichrist, based off the Left Behind books that sold 80 million copies back in the 90s. My most recent movie, Miracle in East Texas, is a wonderful true story set in 1930 about the largest oil find in the history of the world. And yes, I said oil. For all you oil haters out there, I want them to start living. I want them to start living their lives accordingly. Then, because what are they doing? They're following me on the phone, on the iPhones. They're following me on their computers. There's oil in
Yeah.
those products, people. There's
Yeah.
oil in your car and your tires. There's oil in your toothbrush and your hairbrush and your comb and your hair dryer. There's so many oil products. Please go online, you people that hate anything with oil, and say how many products are made from oil. It's not just gas. Stop being so ignorant. It's just
Yeah.
it's so bizarre to me what people are trying to do. They want to cement themselves the streets and paint over hundreds of years old paintings and stuff to protest oil and the climate change and all that. My word for climate change is called weather, by the way, just so people know. it's it's just I mean, literally, it's craziness what's going on out there. So we formed our own studio, and we're doing our own thing, and we're staying very busy. And I signed a 9-picture deal with the funders. Also, the next 3 years, we're going to do 3 movies each year. And we're going to put out movies that a positive message instead of a negative message. And I'm not saying Hollywood stop making the movies you're making. Make the movies you make. But I mean, Disney looked at $1.4 billion loss last year because people are getting tired of it. And you mentioned earlier, do you feel there's a tipping point? And I said, I do feel there's a tipping point. I think people are starting to fight back and say, enough is enough of this craziness and what we're doing to the world. And I wish all these people in America that think communism is a good thing, please, could we spend our tax dollars sending you to those countries that are already fully
Yeah.
communist?
Yeah.
North Korea, Venezuela, Russia, most of the Middle East, Eastern countries, we'd gladly send you there, and you can go to that utopia that you want so bad, and not turn America into a third world country. Not that Russia's a third world country, but they're certainly still operating under the guise of communism. They're a very successful country in a lot of things, but they're not successful in how they rule their people. There's no question about that. But go to the Middle East. I mean, Queers for Hamas. When I start seeing these marchings, I'm going, that's KKK. That's like saying the blacks are with the KKK. I mean, this is
Yeah.
it's foolishness what's going on, and but we're destroying our country piece by piece, and certainly with Biden in office and the people work under him. Well, he's working for other people, obviously, because he's not really functioning at a full level. But
Yeah.
it's almost elderly abuse with Biden now. But it's sad what they've done to the country when we've let 15 million people that we know nothing about into our country. 15 million.
Yeah.
And why people aren't complaining is amazing to me. And we're paying for them with our tax dollars.
Oh,
Most
but
of
we
them,
need
I think
them.
I think most of them want to be here and be productive citizens. I do say that. But they're already estimating up to 800,000 of these are probably terrorists. I don't know how they get that
Yeah.
number, but that's the number I keep reading.
Yeah, but we need them. We need them for the workforce. I mean, that's what they keep telling us. But
I
the
know.
other
I
thing,
love that. And this is the same. This is Schumer or whatever his name is, and Pelosi's people say we need him for the workforce. And I go, well, if we haven't been killing our own people since the 1970s with Roe v.
that
Wade, we'd have more than enough people because we've killed about 65 million. Not mentioning that during those 70s and 80s, all those people that would have had babies themselves by now. So maybe we stop murdering life, human life. And that's what it is. I don't care what
yeah,
these pro-life people, I mean, these pro-choice people, I don't care what you say, it's not pro-choice. And if it was your body, your choice, you'd be dead too. So don't say my body, my choice, because you're killing another human being. It's as simple as that. There's really no argument about that whatsoever. But
no.
they're brainwashed to believe in a totally different way. That's a
And,
whole nother issue we can talk about. I do a
well,
lot
and
of
I will talk about that because the abortion industry is racist on its face because a huge proportion of those
sure.
babies who are aborted were black.
Well, that's
And
Margaret Sanger. Margaret
yeah,
Sanger started that back.
yeah,
She was the fault. She said the black race was an inferior race, so she started Planned Parenthood
yep,
to
yep.
plan to get rid of the black population.
Yeah, yeah, and worked very closely. She
Yeah,
was part of the eugenics movement. She was very closely tied with what was happening in World War II Germany.
yeah.
The
And
target.
all those people I want to attack you and I were talking about this. Go look
Yeah,
at Margaret Sanger. Look her up, okay?
yeah, yeah.
It does. I'm not speaking for her. I'm telling you that's what she says.
Yes, and a big thing that people don't realize too about the eugenics movement and what was happening in Nazi Germany is that
Yeah,
yes, they targeted the Jews, but they also targeted blacks,
sure.
anybody from
Yeah,
any ethnic non-Aryan background, they targeted also mentally and physically disabled. It was
yeah.
just pretty much anybody that didn't fit their definition of perfection, which really you see now with the abortion industry. If the baby isn't perfect or the baby isn't planned, if the baby is inconvenient, then it goes. And how is that different from the mindset of that time period when they were exterminating people by the millions? It's
Yes,
not. It's the same thing.
apparently we're the Nazis apparently.
I know. It's such an upside down
It's
world,
like,
and
uh,
it is. It's like clown world. And when I wanted to go back to what you were saying about the industry, and because the things that they do and the decisions they make, they just don't make any sense. And I've noticed this with woke companies that they make decisions based on ideology that are just anti-capitalist.
yeah,
And you were talking in an interview to Kirk Cameron about a deal that you were working on with Netflix and how they just never went forward, even though you had the demographics for it. And to me, that was just a perfect example of ideology
yeah.
over business.
Well,
Um,
look,
Yeah, how is that working out for them?
They called me. I directed a movie called
Yeah,
Let There Be Light.
yeah.
This is a $3 million movie. That's catering budget in Pirates of the Caribbean, by the way. Those are $300 million movies with $100 million advertising budget. We opened the same weekend as Thor Ragnarok back in 2018. Same weekend. So we're up against this massive big movie with already a big following, and we opened number two per screen average. So I get a call
Wow.
Monday after opening weekend from Netflix. They called me and they said, "Hey, we see that you have a step in this inspirational vision. You got a foot in there. We'd love to work with you."
Mhm.
I had four meetings with them over the next 3 months in their Hollywood offices. And I could tell by the fourth meeting, ultimately, they weren't going to do anything. And I even brought that up. I said, "Your ideology is so brainwashed to hate anybody
Yeah,
who's Christian and conservative. You called me, you know where I stand. I didn't come in here saying I'm better than you. I said I'm coming in because you called me, and there's 80 million homes out there that want to do the kind of movies that I want to see the movies that I do. 80 million homes. You are a capitalist business. I don't care. Netflix
yeah,
may be taking some hits now and then for the stuff they're putting out, but they're still a multi-billion-dollar yearly
yep,
business. So for you not to want to go that just because you hate Christians or you hate conservatives because you've been brainwashed to do so. I mean, every movie they do and every television show they do, if you're a Christian in that movie or conservative, your characters, he's always the bad guy or the
yeah.
buffoon or the idiot. They don't portray them in a positive way whatsoever, and they do this all the time.
Mhm.
And I just went, I could tell half the people in the room were agreeing with me, but they got to keep their mouths shut. Because
Right, right.
I've had people within the ranks of some of these other cable outlets that I know that have come up to me places and say, look, I agree with what you say, but I got to keep my mouth shut because I work for CNN or MSNBC or I work for whatever agencies out there. And so you're going, wow, this is so crazy. Why can't we have both sides? I'm all for both arguments. I would love a
Mhm.
great debate between a climate change believer and a climate change denier. Just have a debate without getting angry about it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
just why can't we have both sides? Why can't we teach kids in grade school about, well, here's the other side of the coin? We're not doing that. And we're certainly not teaching government. We're not teaching history anymore in our schools. We're not teaching civics because God forbid, we let the general public know that it's we the people. It's no longer we the people. Our current government, and I can go back 60 years, our governments now treat us worse than the British monarchy did when we went to the Revolutionary War over a 3% tax. We went to war to get our
yeah,
independence against the British, and yet that government there was not treating us nearly as bad as our own government's treating us here, because we went to war with 3% tax. We now, as Americans, got to work 7 months a year just to pay the taxes, and that government, out of their great heart, let us keep the other 4 or 5 months of that working year for ourselves. I mean, it's unbelievable, but
yeah.
they keep taking that inch and inch and inch. It's miles and miles of freedom they've taken away from the American people.
It is, and it's interesting because, President Trump certainly created a bit of a storm recently saying floating the idea of doing away with the personal income tax and bringing us back to tariffs, which is what you're talking about,
Sure.
that we should be funding the government, and the government should be very small. And
Well,
then
that's where
the
our founding fathers wanted it to be.
Yeah, exactly,
You
exactly,
know.
and it's interesting because you've got these people saying, "Well, that's not gonna work, you can't do that." Well, you probably can't do it with the government the size that it is now, that's true.
No.
But with the government with an actual, government that is small, it's more than enough to fund it, and especially if we start to bring manufacturing back home and then really hit those foreign the companies that take the manufacturing out of the country. I mean, it's
Yeah.
but again, if you speak logically, if you say things that actually make sense, then you're gonna get maligned and criticized.
Yeah. You
And
can't
yeah,
say it's truth. The truth is kryptonite to the left. They hate the truth. They love
yeah,
to live in their hate and anger. And it's like I said earlier. It's a what a horrible way to live your life
yeah,
every single day. Just
yeah.
looking. It's like they wake up every morning and go, "What can I be offended by today?" And they
I
look
think
for it.
that I think that's why you want when you say that you want a debate. I've actually attempted to debate people out in public. I've been at different locations where
Sure.
leftists show up to picket and demonstrate and everything. And when you ask questions, typically they really don't have a response because
No.
the groupthink mentality is what the left cultivates. And it's not just the left, there's extremes everywhere, but you see this so much. They really can't put two thoughts together. And you see this with these pro-Palestine
Yeah.
Hamas events. You ask them, like, when they're chanting, do you know what this means? Do you know the translation of what you're
Yeah.
chanting?
To
And
the
they
river, to the
don't.
sea, to the river, to the sea. And
Right.
I go, okay, what do you know what that means?
Yeah, yeah. They
No,
don't
they don't. They don't
know.
know. And half of them are being paid. Half of them, like these college
Yeah.
campuses, aren't even students at the campus.
Yes, I've talked to
They're
students.
paid professional antagonists.
Yep.
They're there to cause problems. And
Yeah.
yeah, they got means people have nothing. Look, if I did a documentary on their lives, first of all, take your mask off. You're a bunch of cowards to not to hide your faces.
Yeah.
They all hide their faces because they're cowards. They're very brave in their group of 200, 300 people protesting. But take your mask off. What are you hiding from? You know? We're not hiding. I'm not doing an interview with looking like a Taliban member. So
Yeah.
it's amazing to me that. But if I did a documentary on them separately, and if they were honestly, brutally honest with me who did it, I bet there's a common denominator in there. I'm sure there's drug abuse, alcohol abuse. I'm sure there's broken families there. Probably raised out of, most of them probably raised out of a father. Sexual abuse. Who knows? I mean, I'm throwing things out there, but I think I'm kind of right that there's a common denominator with these people, that they've had horrific lives. And I feel sorry that they've had horrific lives, but they've also been the type of people that give up after a failure. Every successful person I've ever met, if I asked them, how do you get to where you are? They all said, oh, I failed, Kevin, for many, many years. I failed. I'm a 15-year overnight success, they'll joke, or something like that. And these are people that just have given up. They've just given up on life, and it's your
Yeah.
fault. It's a God they don't believe in's fault. It's the government should take care of me. I mean, these are people that have just completely just thrown in the towel. They got the white flag up, and they've just given up. I
I
said
think
white
that's
flag. I said white flag. Sorry, that could be racist, but I don't know.
well, that's a good that brings me to a good point because you have an incredible work ethic. And I think that some people get the impression that, in Hollywood, people just sort of fall into it by luck because, there are some people who've been made into stars by their willingness to agree to certain agendas, but you actually worked for what you have. And can you tell us a little bit of your backstory about how you got into acting and how you decided to look at this as a business and dedicate the time that you did into becoming a successful actor? I think it's important for people to hear that. It wasn't
Sure.
just luck.
Well, I'm the fourth of five kids. My father was my mom stay at home mom. My father was a public school teacher, so you know that we were raised with millions of dollars every year. My dad's salary, but I'll tell
How
you one thing. One thing, my dad used to go crazy on us at the end of every month and saying, four boys, can you stop drinking so much milk? Just drink more water or something.
how
Because
many bathrooms?
we never, yeah, we didn't have any money. My
Yeah,
clothes, my hand-me-downs, to my older brothers. But I'll tell you what, I had parents that loved us, parents that had
yeah,
strong morals, strong values, strong beliefs, and taught us all to work hard. And I started a paper out when I was 9 years old. 9 years old. I was delivering 80 papers every morning for 7 years in Minnesota winters, okay,
oh
6 days
my
a
God.
week. I made enough money for myself that by the time I got to be a junior in high school, I bought a 10-year-old car. I bought a 1967 powder blue Mustang with my own money. I remember
Wow.
it was like $1,100 or something back then. And
Yeah.
I worked very hard, to get that, and I took care of that thing. My dad taught hard work in all of us. When I was 11 years old, I went to see a play downtown Minneapolis. The Guthrie Theater is a very famous theater in Minneapolis. Arlo Guthrie is a British actor that started it there, and a lot of plays start there before going to Broadway. Lion King, for instance, started there
Okay.
before moving to Broadway. Well, we went to see The Merchant of Venice. So it was The Merchant of Venice. It was Shakespeare. I was 11, so I didn't know what the heck they were saying because I was 11 and it was Shakespeare. But I was mesmerized by the actors, and I told my mom and dad, I said, I'm going to be an actor one day, and they said, that's nice, dear. So I was a jock, played football and basketball all through high school and into college. I had a double major in business. Um, I studied marketing and advertising, and had a minor in drama because I knew you don't have to go to college to be an actor. But I wanted to get a real degree. I wanted to get a business degree. I didn't want to get a degree in gender studies like some people are doing today. So I wanted to get a real degree, but I knew I wanted to be an actor. And I started doing a lot of commercials. Minneapolis is home to a lot of big companies, headquarters for Best Buy, Target, 3M, Honeywell, Pillsbury,
Yeah.
General Mills, all these big companies. So I had my SAG card, I had my commercial reel, had no problem getting a commercial agent in LA. Started studying my tail off, studied, worked with a lot of different actors, a lot of different acting coaches, I should say. I got my big break, obviously, with Hercules. I did, guest spots on shows, working my way up. Hercules was supposed to be 1 year. By the third movie of the first season was 5 2-hour movies. Universal Studios called up and said, "We love what we see. We're going to have you. We're going to make it a series now." Well, by season 3 of Hercules, we became the most watched TV show in the world in 176 countries. And I was living in New Zealand 7 years filming that. Then I went to Vancouver, Canada to shoot Andromeda, which was the first show Gene Roddenberry wrote after Star Trek. So my captain, Dylan Hunt, was the first captain ever created after Captain Kirk. That went 5 years, 150 countries, big hit. Then I started doing a lot of independent movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then that's when, by 2012, 2013, that's when Hollywood said, "We've had enough of you." And so I formed Sorbo Studios. But I'll tell you what, I'm a 13-year overnight success. I worked my butt off within the industry to get to where I
Right.
am. I had plenty of doors slammed in my face. But I got learned early, not only from my parents, but from people. I used to caddy at this private country club in Minnesota. These were all wealthy people. And I asked every one of them when I was an 18, 19-year-old kid, "How did you become successful?" They all said, "I failed." Oh, and I failed again, Kevin. And I kept failing until I had success. But they never gave up. And you can use failure in the word no as a positive thing instead of a negative thing. When too many people look at it the wrong way, use it as a negative thing. So I use it in a positive way. And that just kept me going. Every time a door slammed in my face in Hollywood, that just fueled the fire for me to
Mm.
be successful. Because there's millions of people within the industry that don't work, that are, hundreds of thousands. I don't know how many people have their Screen Actors Guild card, but at any given time, 98% of them or 99% aren't working. They're bussing tables or, selling cars or whatever to make a buck. So it isn't an easy business. And yeah, it does take some luck, but it takes some talent and timing. And takes a lot of good things to come at the same time, but also takes fortitude and not giving up. And so many people just give up on their lives and want to blame the world for their problems.
And you are constantly going after the roles that you want, the parts
Yeah,
that you want, right? And I think that's the key. It's like you're not actually even gonna get a swing if you don't get up to bat, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
My mantra is this, because I used to
Yeah.
drive my agents crazy, because I would get the breakdown service and, "Hey, I'm right for this part, or right for this commercial, right for this movie,
Yeah.
whatever." And I'd call up my managers and agents, "Get me out there, Kevin. I got 100 other clients." I said, "I don't give a crap about your other clients. Do you think they care about me?"
Yeah.
I said, "Let me have the chance to be rejected. Let me
Mhm.
get in the door to show what I can do. If they don't pick me, they don't pick me." And I think that made a big difference as well, because I showed these guys, look, I'm willing to drive in that crap traffic on the 405 and the 101 in California to go 2 hours, to take 16 miles, it's going to take me 2 hours to get to that casting, but I'm willing to do it. So let me get it, let me
Yeah.
get my foot in the door.
That is just key, and I think that's an attitude that we really don't see taught today.
No.
We see kids really, complaining about the fact that they have massive debt for a degree that was never ever going to be profitable
Well, get a real
ever,
degree.
right?
Get a real
Yeah,
look. I just did a movie last year in West Virginia with this actor. She was getting a degree in something else, but she loved acting. So she had 2 scenes with me in the movie. She played a waitress. My character goes
yeah.
into and so while we're waiting for lighting, I said, "So your last year of college? Yeah. What are you studying?" She actually said gender studies, and I laughed. I thought she was kidding, and I go, "No. What you study? It's gender. That's a real degree." She said, "Yes." And she could tell she was getting mad now. And I said, "I
Mhm.
could have saved your parents $200,000, male, female. Moving on. What are you going to get? What kind of job are you going to get with that? I mean, seriously."
One day, hopefully, she's going to look back and say, "I got schooled by Kevin Sorbo on the set of this
Well, I
film."
told her, I said, "You know what job you like? You have a
Yeah,
job serving coffee at Starbucks at some airport, and you don't need a degree for that." So I just thought, college is a waste of time. Bill Maher came out 2 months ago. Because I watched Bill. Because I used to be on a show, Politically Incorrect, before he got his other one. I did like 4 episodes in that one. So I find him an interesting guy. We disagree on
yeah,
most things, but we're agreeing in more and more on other things now. He said, "Do not send your kids to American universities." That's
yeah.
coming from Bill Maher.
Yeah, he should have you back on. I mean, that would make it
I should,
more
I should go
interesting.
back on a show. I'd love to do a show. I think there was a chance
Yeah,
I could have done it once before, but I think I was filming at that time at the same time. Um, He's an interesting guy. He's a smart guy. I think he's more of a JFK Democrat. He's not a. He even is going after his own
Mhm.
party right now, saying how ridiculous it is.
It's about time. I
Yeah.
mean,
What?
anybody who's intellectually honest needs
Yeah.
to do that,
Well,
right?
he's a bright guy. I mean, I'll give him all that
Yeah.
credit right there. We disagree on a lot of things, but I
Mhm.
think that
Mhm.
I have no problem talking to people of different point of view. But
Right.
just because you yell really loud doesn't make you right. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah. What about your own kids? I mean, you homeschool, right? And,
yeah,
you and Sam, and you're huge advocates for this. I assume
yeah.
that you're teaching them these principles and ideals. What do you see for them? Are you think they're gonna be in the industry? Are they involved?
Well,
Can you tell us a little bit?
my two boys already are. They've already.
Okay.
My oldest, Braden, 22, has done about 9 movies already. My other son's done about 6, Shane, and they're going to be in another one coming up later this year, Christmas movie that they're doing. I know of, but they love the industry. They took classes for it. They were all homeschooled. They're very bright. Braden's got his own podcast. He's got his own on TikTok. He's got over 2 million followers. He tells jokes. It's
Oh,
just
I'll have to go find him. Okay, I'm just
it's
back.
pretty
I just
fun. He
got back
he
on
throws me in
TikTok.
some of those things as well. But they're great kids. They're great. Um, they're smart. They're talkative. My son Braden wrote a book. His initials are BS, Braden Sorbo. So it's a BS guide to politics for young people. and
Oh, I'm gonna
and
look
Charlie,
that
he
up.
does a lot of stuff with Charlie Kirk. He does a lot of stuff at Turning Point USA every 6 months with Charlie. They got another one coming up here in Palm Springs. I'm in Palm Beach, where I live in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I'll be showing my trailer for my movie there, by the way, which we should talk about.
Yeah, let's talk
Um,
about this. Yeah.
yeah.
This is the Firing Squad,
Yep.
firingsquadfilm.com. This is a movie that you have coming up. And I watched the trailer and
Mhm.
I'm very moved by it. So I really want people to see this. And then we can talk about it. It's releasing in August. So
August 2nd. August
coming up
2nd.
soon. Yeah.
Yep.
And you're working with Epic Studios, our friends at
Yeah.
Epic, so
Yep.
that's exciting, yeah. Let me just cue this up. I'm gonna take us off screen here, and hopefully this will work. It usually does. I'm my own producer,
There
so
you go.
yeah, just don't panic.
Do you ever wake up and realize your life has no purpose?
Do I have a death wish? Morgan asked. Maybe I did. I thought this would be our final run ever. We had made millions and millions of dollars, but God had other plans.
Peter Lowe, the one-time drug dealer turned pastor, along with 2 others, will be executed at 12 midnight local time.
The next day, something strange happened. Someone came up to me and gave me this flyer about Jesus.
You can be in heaven or you can be in hell. The choice is yours.
We'll walk straight out of here, pretend to be the media.
This pathetic maggot got caught, tried to escape my prison. Nobody escapes my prison.
He's a changed person. He's a new man.
I found Christ in here, and he forgave me.
I found Christ too.
My name is Peter Lone, and I will be executed in 2 hours. Why am I being executed, you ask?
Jesus is for free, and salvation is a gift. Do you believe in Jesus?
It's kinda heavy. It's just
It's a true story. The character that I
yeah,
play, really, Cuba Gooding and I are kind of secondary characters in there. You saw James in there.
yeah.
His story. He's the last guy to really come into the prison. But my character, when he was in his 20s, he was surfing in Indonesia. True story. He saw a guy flirting with his girlfriend on the beach. He ran out, he paddled and got on fight with the guy, killed the guy. He got the death penalty. And so he was decades in prison before they actually assassinated him. He was assassinated in 2015. And while he was in prison, he found God. And he became a pastor, and he saved many souls within that, other inmates and also guards. And when he was assassinated, he refused to take the blindfold. They usually blindfold you and put you up against the wall. He refused it. He looked at the men that he had gotten to know, the 30 years he was in prison. And he
Yeah.
said, God loves you. And then they had to shoot him dead. And but the story really is the other James's story you saw right there when he comes in. Well, I look at him as my last challenge because it reminded me a lot of myself when I was in my late 20s when I did what I did. And so it's a wonderful story, and that's going to be out August 2nd. So once again, FiringSquadFilm.com for more information.
FiringSquadFilm.com. So how do you choose the films that you do? You get pitched scripts all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
How do you make that choice?
I give them 20 pages. I'm at a point now. I don't like looking at new scripts unless they're funded. I've got enough in my own production office company right now that we're trying to find funding for, and we just recently, as I mentioned, we got 9 movies now we got funded for the next 3 years. So, of the 30 I've gotten this waiting thing, 9 of those are now going to be funded, which is amazing. So I'm going to be pretty full on the next 3 years. So I like true stories. I like stories that have, like I said, that have a positive attitude and have, I like you. They don't have to be faith based. If you're an atheist, every movie is a faith based. If you're an atheist, that's a strong faith. To believe in absolutely nothing, that takes a lot of faith. So I like to call more family friendly movies, but I do like movies that do have redemption in them. That there is
Yeah.
hope out there. There's
Yeah.
a chance to turn your life around if you're going down a bad road, going down a wrong road. So I'm going to keep doing movies like this because I enjoy doing it. The other movie I have opening late August. That movie's Firing Squad August 2nd, August 30th. I'm in the Ronald Reagan movie. Dennis Quaid
Oh
plays
yeah,
Reagan.
yeah.
It's just called Reagan, and I play as pastor in that movie as well. And it's the same director, Sean McNamara, who directed Dennis Quaid and I in a movie called Soul Surfer that came out about 10 years ago. The life of Bethany
I
Hamilton.
love that one.
Yeah.
Here's a little trivia for you.
Okay.
I lived in Waikiki, and I met Bethany. This was after
Oh, wow.
when she was on the tour, and she was actually doing a speaking circuit with Nick Wojcik, the
Sure.
guy with no arms and no
I know
legs.
Nick. Yeah, I know him.
So I
know him
got
very
to
well.
watch her she took him surfing. And I was filming it right on the wall in Waikiki, and it was amazing. It was really special to meet her and to get to be a part of that and to
Yeah.
see. So Nick Wojcik, when he falls off the board, he bobs like a cork because he's all lungs. So this is like a little unknown fact. And he jokes about it too, but it was just amazing because he's on this board and if he falls off, you're like, oh my gosh, like how is he going to swim? And he bobs up and down like a cork. So just
When I met him years ago, and the first time I met him, he said, my arms are as big as yours, Hercules. Well, actually, they're not because I don't have any arms. I mean, he makes fun of it himself.
I know.
But what a speaker. He's an amazing speaker.
He really is. And he
Yeah.
does this game where he invites people up to beat him in the slap game that he does with his feet. And
Right.
I don't know if you've seen that, but he wins. He beats everybody. He's so fast at it.
Hey, I gotta run. I'm sorry to do this to you, but I do want to get in one more thing before we go.
Sure.
Kirk Cameron and I do a lot of work with Braid Books. Please go to braidbooks.com.
Okay.
This is my
Okay.
latest one, just came out right now. Deals with the importance of fathers within the family, and that's for the month of
Excellent.
June. So, and obviously we had Father's Day as well. So it's the bare essentials of fatherhood. It's a wonderful book. The first one I did was called the Test of Linehood. But these are family books for like 4 to 11-year-olds. If you go to braidbooks.com, you can get a lot of information on it and see what the kind of stuff they do. They do very good family type stories that are great for kids. And I hope people will check it out because
Yes.
they
We
do
will.
great stuff. Look,
And we'll share a link.
Here, look, I've been in the business over 40 years. I've worked with gay people in every movie set I've been on. I love the fact they call me a homophobe just because I'm a conservative or a Christian. You just get that label. They love their labels. And I go, find me one gay person I've worked with in 40 years in Hollywood that says I was a horrible person to work with, and they won't find one. They won't, because I treat everybody the same. I honestly don't care where people go with their private lives are like. People are just getting tired of things being shoved down their throat all the time.
Yeah.
And I do have a problem with Pride Month. Pride Day, sure, give them a day. I don't understand. Our veterans get one day. Our veterans One
Yeah.
day. Yeah, we
Yeah.
get Pride, which represents less than what, 3% of the population, 2% of the population, entire month. That I don't understand. I don't care. Like I said, I don't care. Look, I've known Bruce Jenner forever, who's now Caitlyn Jenner. We've known each other for decades.
Yeah.
We get along fine. And so, to me, it's this weird thing. Our veterans are the ones that have made this country the free country that it was. We're not, and we're losing those freedoms all the time. But it's our veterans deserve a month, if anybody deserves a month. So to me,
Yeah, I
there's my
agree.
2 cents on that. But you know
Now,
what?
you could get me going on this for a long
I know,
time.
I know.
Quick question. You, as a Christian,
Sure.
one of the things we discussed this a little bit before the show. You're in talks for an interesting script that it hasn't been funded yet, but it's an idea that a mutual friend of ours has. It's a film called A Prophet Like Me. It's
Yep.
about the lost years of Jesus. You're kind of intrigued by it. Can you give
What?
us a little rundown about maybe what stood out to you
Well,
about that?
what's interesting in the Bible, you get this whole stuff with Jesus when he was younger and all that.
Yeah,
And then it just disappears. You got this 18 years or something disappears. Then you got
yeah,
when he was 30, those last 3 years of his life when he really became out and became the prophet, became the storyteller, telling his parables. And you're kind of going, okay, is there anything in there? What happened? What's going on? So
yeah.
this movie really deals with his last couple of years leading into him saying, okay, I am the Messiah. I'm going to go out there now and speak for my dad, speak for God. And so it's an interesting look at that. I hope we can get funds for that movie. I hope
Yeah,
that they get
yeah.
it. I mean, there are projects out that have been sent to me that aren't really in my production company's office, and
Hmm.
that's one of them out there that I hope they get it funded. I would love to be part
Yeah,
of it in
and
some way.
that's Sovereign Films, I think. And
Yep.
so, yeah, hopefully, and I'll put a link for that because there may be somebody in our listening audience who really gets the bug and is
Sure.
interested in funding it. You never know. Kevin Sorbo, it's just been an honor and a pleasure to have you here today, and you're welcome anytime on the show. And also, I want to extend an invitation to your wife, Sam. I know that she's a spitfire. She's been on the Reawaken tour with
Yeah.
Clay, and so we have a lot of mutual ideas and thoughts that I
Yeah,
think
you
could
should
really
both.
bounce off
She
each
should
other.
be on yours, and you should be on hers. She's
That'd be
now,
great.
well, General Mike Flynn now is doing his
Yeah.
own sort of daily wire thing. It's called
Yep.
Patriot.tv,
Yep.
and Sam has the 4 to 5 o'clock slot Monday through Friday on that. So
Yes, I was looking. So I'm excited about the way that everything's going. You're such an inspiration.
oh, thank
Thank
you.
you for standing for the principles that we hold so dear in this country and as believers. I really just want to pray that God blesses you and continues to prosper you and your wife and your family. I'm very excited that you've got some Zoomers in the industry as well. So
All right.
awesome. It was great to
All
have
right.
you here. And
It was a
everybody stick
pleasure.
around. Thanks again, Kevin Sorbo.
Thanks for what you're doing. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Take care.
Listen, your health is your best investment. We have a country to save, and we need people who are in the best shape of their lives, physically, mentally, spiritually. Why not connect with a team who cares about you on every single level from the inside out? Official Synapse is that team. OfficialSynapse.com. It's official, SYNAPSE.com. Tell them Mary Grace sent you, and they will treat you like family. If you're like most people, you really probably haven't thought about transferring your paper dollars into physical gold and silver. But I want to tell you a story. My friend Andrew Sorcini over at Beverly Hills Precious Metals, he recently went overseas and he wanted to buy a watch. He likes fine watches. He took 3 currencies with him. He took gold, he took Bitcoin, and he took American dollars. Now, there used to be a time when the American dollar was king. I remember that when I used to travel overseas. Everybody wanted dollars. The people that he was dealing with would not take his dollars because the dollar is so devalued around the world. They wanted the gold. So this is what I recommend to you. I want you to think about this. If you have cash in the bank, if you have an investment account that you have worked hard for years to accumulate, consider the value of converting that money into physical gold and silver. You're not buying something that's losing value. You're changing those worthless dollars into a tangible physical asset that will go up in value, which it has done historically. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to bh-pm.com. The first thing you're going to do is schedule that free consultation. Second thing, just think rationally about this, pray about it, go to the Lord, see what the best decision for you and your family is. I can't tell you that. I don't want to pressure you into that. What I do know is don't be scared, be prepared. And so the third thing you want to do is make a decision for you and your family. Make a decision, take action. bh-pm.com. Let them know Mary Grace sent you. When it comes to food, we really want to be aware of what is in the food that we're consuming. And that includes different types of technologies, jibber jabbers, technology that can alter your genetic makeup. And this is why we want to focus on American grown beef that isn't injected with things that you wouldn't put into your own body. We really don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. We saw 4 years ago what happened when the whole country shut down and people couldn't even go to the grocery store. We saw what happened when meat and other foods were rationed, and that could happen any day. We want you to be prepared. We want you to take action. And one of the best ways to do that is to secure food for yourself and your family. What better way than to go to griddownchowdown.com, use promo code Mary Grace, get a sustainable, reliable, shelf-stable source of high-quality American beef. All you do is go to griddownchowdown.com, tell them Mary Grace sent you, put your order in the basket and check out, and you're good to go. The other thing you can do is you can get a subscription. If you do a subscription, you're going to get this freeze-dried beef delivered to your door every month. And you're going to save a little bit while you do that. You're going to stockpile it, or you can just cook with it. Some people are just using it for their regular cooking. It's really up to you, but it's super convenient because it's freeze-dried and it's shelf-stable for 12, 15 years or more. Go to griddownchowdown.com and use promo code Mary Grace. I just want to give a shout out to everybody who watches this show. Thank you for being a participant. Thank you for being a loyal audience member. I just want to remind you, if you like what you've seen, please share this and don't forget to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and also sign up for my email list so you never miss a show.